All right, so we're here. First video of the channel. This should be a pretty fun video so far. Welcome to Scooper Fantasy. This is going to be quarterback rankings based off of Vegas's lines, Vegas's predictions, we're going to call it, sleeper rankings, my rankings. We're going to create a composite score, composite stats. We're going to do everything. All right, so let's start. Let's zoom out a little. So we got our top 30 quarterbacks here, okay? This right here, we're only going to be looking at C through H, okay? I'll zoom in a little bit. So we got the quarterback in column B, and then we got Vegas's lines. I called it predictions. It's basically their predictions because they're allowing people to put money on it, okay? So I took these lines that Vegas made, and I turned them into fantasy points. Okay, 4-point passing touchdown, and then just standard 10 yards per point for the rushing yards, and 25 yards per point for passing yards. So if we look at this, it's pretty normal. Vegas, they put their lines out for a reason. They do their research, more research than probably anyone else out there. They're always a very trusted way to see who is going to be good, who they think is going to be good. And if there's a big difference between what you think and what they think, you should probably look into it. If you feel confident, then maybe you got them beat. Maybe you do. It's a possibility. All right, so a couple things that stick out. Not really a lot. Just looking at this alone, Vegas is pretty similar to most places that you'll find in terms of just the overall ranking. Again, nothing too crazy here, right? They got Drake May down pretty low. I don't know why Russell has a comma, but yeah. Overall, just looking at Vegas's predictions, nothing stands out. Sleeper rankings, again, are pretty similar to Vegas. And then my rankings. So, let's go ahead and just hide these columns real quick. We're not even going to look at them. So the composite score, that's what I'm sorting by right now. This composite score is averaging sleeper's rankings and my rankings, because I find that getting two opinions on the player is a good idea. And then averaging that with Vegas's rankings. So Vegas's rankings is 50% of this composite score. My rankings are 25%. Sleeper's rankings are 25%, for the easiest way to put it, okay? So that's how you can get, 2, 1.5, 3.25, etc. So to start, the composite scores. Josh Allen, quarterback 1. Patrick Mahomes, close, but quarterback 2. Hurts, Prescott, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence. You guys can read the rest. I'll actually scroll down past Trevor Lawrence to show you guys the rest of this list. Brock Purdy, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, Tua, and then all the way down to the bottom. Most of these guys at the bottom probably aren't getting drafted in like a 10-man league, probably even a 12-man redraft. In best ball, though, these guys will be getting drafted. So composite stats, they make sense for the most part, right? Mahomes, 4,400, 34, 305 to, there's the points. Okay. Now, let's zoom out for a second. So Vegas makes their predictions for players based off of a lot of different reasons. And the main reason is how well they actually think that player is going to play that season. That is the most obvious, straightforward reason there is. There's another thing that Vegas bakes into these predictions. Because you can take the over or the under on any of these lines, they also need to factor in injury. So if Vegas predicts Patrick Mahomes to throw for 4,200 yards across the season, You can take higher or lower, obviously. But the line that Vegas makes doesn't necessarily mean that they think that he's going to throw for 4,200 yards over 17 games. Now, it may seem confusing, but let me repeat myself. Just because they put the line out there of 4,200 yards doesn't mean that they think if he plays all 17 games, he'll throw 4,200. That number is slightly lower because of injury risk. Just take Kirk Cousins for last year. Through 8 games, he was on an insane pace. He was going to hit every possible over there ever was. He might have even been on MVP pace. Okay? But he got hurt halfway through the season, isn't able to play any more games, and every under hits consequently. So that is why these numbers that Vegas makes are always going to be slightly lower than every fantasy projection you see, because fantasy projections should not incorporate a player missing games. Okay? Because if you're incorporating missing games, there's just too many moving parts. When you're making your fantasy projections, you want to assume the player is going to play as many games as possible. Okay? If the player is like really old or has a terrible injury history, maybe you can factor in a game or two missed. But for the most part, you're going to want to project them out to play every game. So, now that that has been said, here's the composite scores. You can see the rankings of the quarterbacks. Pretty similar, nothing too crazy. And then here are the composite stats. Okay, now this column right here, very raw. Wow, what does that mean? Well, wins above average is what that means. Not weighted. So very raw. What does that mean? Wins above average is just kind of my way of saying how good of a pick is this player. So if you don't know, over the course of the last many seasons, in a redraft league, the average win happens by 25 and some change points per week. That's the average win. So what I'm doing is I'm saying the average player, who I actually have as the average top 10 player. So I'm saying that the average team is going to have one of these players. One of these players. Josh Allen through Jordan Love. They're going to have a top 10 quarterback if you're in a 10-man league. In a 10-man league, Josh Allen is going to score basically saying, 50, 60 more points than Jordan Love. But we're doing the average. And 1.5 wins basically means that if you have the average quarterback, which in this case it would be in between Dak and Lamar, Josh Allen, in theory, will get you 1.5 more wins. It is a good way to show opportunity cost because you are having to draft Josh Allen early, which means that you're going to have lower wins above average at other positions. This is just really a number for me to look at. And if you scroll all the way down, Drake May is expecting to lose you 6 games more or less, if you want to think of it like that. Okay, now this is really the interesting part. This is the meat of this entire spreadsheet. You have sleeper rank ADP, which has some variety in there. It has Hurts above Mahomes, whatever. Underdog ADP. Okay, well, there's a lot of variation there. And, we don't need these anymore, so we can go ahead and hide these as well. So now, this is where things start to get really interesting. We're putting Vegas at the helm, and we're just seeing what would they do basically if they were an underdog and if they were in sleeper. Okay, so Vegas thinks that Josh Allen is the quarterback 2, and then it thinks Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback 1. Okay, so a -1 means that Vegas would draft them one quarterback spot lower than where they're currently going on underdog and sleeper respectively. So to start, Vegas, is one spot lower on Josh Allen on both platforms. They're 3 and 2 spots higher on Patrick Mahomes. They think he should be the quarterback 1. He's getting drafted as the quarterback 3 or 4. Okay? Hurts, they have as the quarterback 3. He's getting drafted as the quarterback 2. So these aren't crazy until you get down to Dak. Dak is the first one that there seems to be a great value according to Vegas when you're looking at these numbers. Sleeper, he's getting drafted as the quarterback 8. Underdog, he's getting drafted as the quarterback 9. Vegas predicts him to be the quarterback. Well, this is a little confusing because this one goes with that one and that one goes with that one. That's my bad. Vegas has him predicted to be the quarterback 4. So you're getting seemingly a massive discount if you think Vegas is good. And fun fact, they are very good at predicting within a close variance of how good a player is going to be. So you come down this list: Lamar, AR, CJ, Burrow, Kyler, Jordan Love, all pretty fairly priced. Trevor Lawrence on Sleeper, you're getting him at a pretty good discount, 6 quarterbacks later than Vegas thinks you should be going. Purdy, Jaden Daniels on Sleeper, he's at a discount right now. Jared Goff, Tua. Tua is seemingly overpriced on Sleeper and barely overpriced on Underdog. But here's where things start to get interesting. Deshaun Watson is the first one. He's actually the biggest variation between what Vegas and what people think. The ADP on Sleeper has him as 23rd quarterback off the board. I'll highlight this whole row. 23rd quarterback off the board. They think that he's going to be quarterback 16. You're getting him at a massive discount. And if I remember correctly, that is about 40 to 50 picks for the average draft. That's insane. In Underdog, you're getting him at 5 quarterback discount, which is crazy. That is a crazy amount of variance. This just makes me want to draft Deshaun Watson so much more. I think that people are out on him because of what happened last season, because of his off-the-field problems that have happened in the past. The Browns as a franchise just don't get a good reputation. But Deshaun Watson, assuming fully healthy, Vegas loves him. They love him. He is going to be a guy that I'm looking for in the later rounds if I'm going to go, 2-3 quarterback build, not with an elite quarterback. Would I pair him with an elite quarterback? Maybe if I can get a good discount. But again, I'm looking at him more of a cheap, I'll draft 3 quarterback 2s and he seemingly could be the steal. The next guy, Caleb Williams, is seemingly the most overdrafted player according to Vegas on this entire thing. J.J. McCarthy and Drake May are kind of close. But looking at Underdog, Caleb Williams is getting drafted 6 quarterback spots too high according to Vegas. This is an insanely large discrepancy. It is actually the largest discrepancy, positive or negative, on this entire spreadsheet. Caleb Williams is getting the rookie hype, generational talent. He has all of the pieces around him to succeed. And I don't think that he's going to fail. I'm actually higher than Sleeper, and I'm higher than Underdog on both of their stats. But rookie quarterbacks historically have struggled, right? Caleb Williams would need to repeat C.J. Stroud's record-breaking, in many ways, rookie season. Record-breaking. He would need to break records to return more or less on his ADP. Right? Vegas thinks that he should be going at quarterback 18. He's going at quarterback 11 and 12. 12 on Underdog. 18. That is a lot of spots. And it's just too many, right? especially when you have two guys, Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson, right sandwiched around Caleb Williams. You're getting a 6 pick discount on Deshaun Watson, and you're paying a 6 pick premium for Caleb Williams. It wants you to draft Deshaun Watson before Caleb Williams, it being Vegas, and the opposite is happening. Completely insane. Again, I think it's just because the rookie hype. People remember what CJ Stroud did, and they say, oh my God, Caleb Williams is better, and he has a better situation. I think it's gone a little too far. The next name that we're going to talk about is Kirk Cousins. Same reason as Deshaun Watson, right? Great quarterback, but he did get injured. People are a little skeptical. They're wondering, can he really do it? Well, Vegas is all in. If Vegas could draft, Vegas would be drafting Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, or Kirk Cousins. That's really about it. Kirk Cousins, for me, I am high on him. I think that Drake London is a great receiver. If you look at his route running capabilities, he's off the charts. This offense is fully loaded to just explode with points. Kirk is not going to get you any points on the ground, which is another reason why people shy away from, possibly these types of quarterbacks who aren't going to maybe have the most insane passing season and won't get you rushing upside. That's some risk, but getting drafted as quarterback 18, Vegas wants you to take him more at quarterback 14. They think that the passing volume is so much there that you should be taking him higher. Or just take him at price and get a great value. That's another thing to do, right? Another guy that is on this list who seemingly makes sense, right? This one makes sense to me. Justin Herbert. They're saying 2 to 3 quarterback spots too high. No. Don't draft Justin Herbert at ADP. Try and get him a little lower if you want to draft him. To me, it makes sense, and I know that I've said this before, but Vegas does the research. It seemingly is going to be a run-heavy-ish team, inexperienced receiving core. Herbert can throw the ball well, but it's just how much help is he going to have? It's a tough question. Going down this list, 1-2 spots isn't anything crazy. Derek Carr is one to note. Wasn't really expecting that, especially because this column is underdog. And they're saying on underdog you're getting a 3 quarterback spot difference. So to me, when I look at this, maybe if you want to go Deshaun and Kirk or Deshaun and Derek Carr, and maybe if you need a third, like a Daniel Jones or a Russell Wilson. But for me, Derek Carr, the Saints weren't as bad as people think they were last year offensively. And I think that Derek Carr will probably just repeat what he did last year. And if that happens, then at quarterback 28, Vegas just likes him more than other guys going ahead of him, such as Drake May. Oh, excuse me. I didn't even see this. I said Caleb Williams was the most at 7. J.J. McCarthy ties him. Vegas hates J.J. McCarthy. They are not in on him at all. They have him at quarterback 29, Drake May at quarterback 30. I'll talk about both of these guys. I don't know if these guys are the most NFL-ready quarterbacks ever, especially J.J. McCarthy. Who even knows if J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starter for the first half of the season, maybe even the whole season, right? People forget Sam Darnold's 27. He has a lot of good football left in him if he is actually a good quarterback. J.J. McCarthy has Jordan Addison. They have Justin Jefferson. I think people are just reaching for upside and looking for a stack when they draft them, and they really want it to work out. Drake May, to me, just doesn't make sense as a draft pick. I'm not exactly sure why people are in on him. This team is going to be terrible, and a Bryce Young similar season for Drake May is seemingly what is in the cards for him. Vegas also agrees. They have his over-under very low for McCarthy and Drake May. So that's going to wrap things up. Seemingly quicker video for me. But hopefully this can make people rethink the quarterbacks they're drafting and say, okay, when the money's on the line and Vegas is, putting millions at risk on these lines, what do they have faith in? And they clearly have faith in a couple of guys who I'm going to be drafting more. Just a quick recap: Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, maybe Derek Carr. On Underdog, I'm probably always going to be trying to get one of these guys. When I have Vegas on my side, it just makes me a little more reassured. It's always a good feeling. Thank you guys for watching the first video. Scooper Fantasy. Have a great day.